because we both decided we were going to take a course. We both saw
Mm.
a course online, and this course was about doing online courses.
Online writing an
It was
online
a course
course.
about online
Course.
courses. I want to switch our discussion. I want to talk
Go for it.
about our meeting or our how we had met because I know that we did
Has
have a
been.
comment on our YouTube channel about that, and so I thought it would be a good opportunity to take so we can talk about it and and just be able to let our viewers know a bit about
Mm.
that.
Yes,
And then we'll get into the person through which we met because I sent you something and I don't know if you saw
I
that.
did look at it. Yes.
Okay, well let's get into that in a second.
Mm.
So first and foremost, um, so I'm just gonna start. So Susan and I met because we both decided we were going to take a course. We both saw
Mm.
a course online. And the course was an online course, but there was a community of people
Yes.
taking this course that would meet on Zoom or like Zoom-like meetings. Was that
Was Zoom,
weekly?
yes.
Was that
Mm.
weekly that we met? That we would do that?
It was, I think he did it twice a week, but they were at different times so that some were able to come from like your direction and some could come from a different direction. So he did it at different times in the
Okay,
week,
see, I didn't
I
even
think.
remember that it was twice a week. That's so funny.
Mm.
But you're right that okay, so I
Mm.
so at the very least you and I would see each other once a week on this
Yes.
course.
Yes.
And this course was about doing online courses.
Online writing an
It was
online
a course
course.
about online
Course.
courses for us to be able to learn how to make online courses for people, right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay. So, and anyway, all to say for our viewers that Susan and I, after and during that course, decided that we were going to continue our discussions. online.
Actually, I'll tell you how it came about. I was struggling with Kajabi because Michael had recommended Kajabi. Put a question out in the group. I don't know how to do this Kajabi. And you said, why don't we meet up and I'll show you how to do it? I can talk you through it. And
Yes.
that's how we first started. You were guiding me in actually setting up my Kajabi Facebook website and how to use Kajabi. And then
Yeah.
we just carried on talking from there. But we did the first few weeks, if not longer, actually working on getting Kajabi working for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. And then
you've
we just
forgotten that, haven't
continued
you?
to talk.
But
And all to say, so our viewers know this as well. Susan and I have never met in the
in
flesh.
person, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Although I still look forward to the day.
Yes, yes. And I actually, because you like visiting ancient places, I go around here going, oh, well, we could. I'm sure you've probably seen Stonehenge, though, haven't you?
Yes,
Have you
I
been to
have seen
Stonehenge?
Stonehenge.
But there's other quite ancient places around this area. And I think, oh, well, we could possibly go there or go there or
Here's
whatever.
something I'm hoping will happen, Susan.
Yeah.
May keep our fingers crossed for this. So, my normally when I go on a trip, which is coming up,
Yes.
Noel and I start talking about our next trip.
That's ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And possibly two. So we try to say, okay, what would we do here and what would we do here? And the reason for that is we try to space our meetings and our trips 6 months
Mm,
apart, more or less. We also try to find two good months to in which to do that. So it could be like March,
mm.
April, September, October, usually as that kind of thing. So
Yes. And
the
you
next,
also look at places that you've not been before. So you
correct,
actually are ticking off
correct.
your tick list sort of thing.
Correct. So one of the things that Noel mentioned
Mm.
was that one of the next trips that he wants to do. It's not a full-fledged event, but we're going to do an easy version of the Camino. Have you heard of the Camino?
No.
So this is a walk that people do, and they literally walk through Europe. And I don't know if it's like goes from Portugal to Spain or okay, it ends up in Santiago de Compostela. So
Oh, that's along the northern Spain into Portugal, is it into
yes, that's
northern
it. So
Portugal?
it's like it's I don't know if it
That's
starts
like
in Portugal and it ends in Spain or something like
no,
this. Okay.
it goes east to west. It's like a pilgrimage, isn't it?
Correct, correct. Okay.
Yes, I know
So
exactly what
any
you
it's a
mean.
pilgrimage and it was
Yes.
really okay. So first of all, we're not walking from, Spain to
Holy
Portugal. Okay? Because first of
no,
all, I ain't never gonna make
not that far.
I am never gonna make that.
Hmm.
Okay, so Noel saw this thing that is what they call an easy walk, the easy version.
Right.
And I don't
Yeah.
know if they call it the French easy way or the easy French way or something like this. I don't
Okay.
know if that's a company or it's a name for a reason or
Hmm.
what it is. But the reason they call it easy is because it's, first of all, it's only 10 days.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you do only 10 kilometers
Each
every
day.
day. Okay.
Right.
So, potentially if you walk quickly, you can do it in less than 2 hours. And if you don't, maybe it's 4 hours. So basically, it's like a
Yeah.
half a day of walking kind of thing, or a
Yeah.
couple hours, let's
Yeah.
say 3 hours of walking every day. And
Mm.
it's relatively flat and easy. So there's no hills. So
Yes.
the
Because
other
it's
thing
along
about
the edge of the, I think it's along
right. So
not
the
quite the
other thing is
coastline,
because
but
it's not
yeah.
like,
Mm.
all day and all night, and I'm not doing the full-fledged thing. It's not like I got to carry a pack on my back with,
Mm.
chairs and food and all that because I
Yeah.
would never do that
Mm.
either. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
But I could walk 10 kilometers a day because at the end of the day, I probably do 5 easy.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, just
Not that
just
much.
do that
Yeah.
twice over. Um, and that's not a hard thing to do. But the reason why I brought it up is because one of the things that Noel said is, well, once we do this easy thing, so it starts somewhere in Spain and it does end in Santiago de Compostela. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yes.
from there, he said,
Mm.
well, maybe we should just, go to the UK. We'll do a little driving thing and maybe we'll go up to Scotland.
Right.
Because
Yes.
I love Scotland. He's never been to Scotland. I,
Okay.
I also said if we have a little bit of time, maybe we do Ireland because I haven't done Ireland. But of course, Noel doesn't like the fact that I have more places on my map than he
Yes.
does. So he doesn't want me to get any new ones.
So would that
So
be Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland?
Both. I'd like to do both.
Both.
Personally, he's
Mm.
never been to Northern Ireland. He's done Southern Ireland, but I have not
Mhm.
done any of it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the long story short, I would like to do both, but we'd have to see how much time we have, how long that would take when we plan the whole thing. Because as it is right up front, we have to get ourselves to Spain. And it's not like an easy just fly to like a major place. You got to fly, then you got to take the train, then you got to get to the starting point, is in a small town,
Yeah.
I believe. Then when
Yeah.
we get to Santiago de Compostela is a little bit easier or whatever. But long
Still got to
story
find your
short,
way back.
this is something that perhaps we're gonna plan out.
Mm.
If that is the case and we do come to the UK, I would very much like to make sure that I plan at least a little bit of time in there and
Right.
if we do stay, maybe, if the house in Swindon is not sold and you're looking to rent it, maybe Noel and I could
Okay.
rent the house for a couple of days so that we
Fair enough.
could use it
Yeah.
as a point, like a jump off point kind of thing for us.
Well, I could give you the link once it's with Sykes.
Yeah.
I could give you the link and then you could book it through the management agency. accordingly, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, no, that would work.
Yeah. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how that works.
Yeah.
But going back to our other piece of the conversation,
Ah, yes.
which was the start, like how we met. I was surprised he popped up on my screen, just like on
Hmm.
my Facebook like that,
Yes.
out of
Yes.
the blue.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, well, what is he into now?
Mm. Mm.
Which is interesting. I didn't, it didn't so the topic was a little bit weird for what I thought,
Mm.
has been his sort of past in terms of,
He'd done NLP before. I know that when we were talking with him, he'd done NLP. Um, but he had trained as a nurse, hadn't
oh,
he?
right, right.
So, I think it does sort of fit in with
See,
who
I
he
completely
was.
forgot that. I completely forgot
Yeah.
that.
So
Okay.
what we were doing with him was about writing this
Yeah, yeah,
course,
yeah, yeah.
was which wasn't really what his background was
Right.
originally, I think.
Anyway,
So yeah.
I was sort of a
Mm.
little bit shocked to see him.
Mhm.
He has
Yeah.
he looked a little thinner than
Mm. Before.
when
Yeah.
we had seen him. Now, granted, that's got to be at least what we've known each other how long now?
It was 2021, I think, when we met.
Okay, so f almost 5 years because I believe it was
Got to be.
April when I started that course.
Mm.
I know it was around the April time frame because I had just
Mm.
left IBM
Right.
and I left IBM in March and I
Mm.
was sort of, I want to say floundering, but I was kind of like searching for what do I do next?
To do. I started just before you, not long. It was sort of early that year, so it might have been a month or so before you.
Okay, so I know it was April, at least
Mm.
mid or maybe end of April, whatever, that I started
Mm.
that. So coming up in April is going to be five full
Mm.
years that I've known you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we've been chatting all that time. Look at
And
all
we've
that
been
chat we've
chatting for
had.
5 friggin' years. And yet, I feel like I know you so well.
Yeah.
And even though I haven't physically hugged you, but I'll tell you, when I see you, Susan, you're getting a big hug,
Oh, thank
a
you.
real hug. So keep our fingers crossed because it could be this autumn that this might
Ah,
happen.
okay.
Because that was
Yeah.
the plan, was to say that we wanted to trying to do that thing next.
Mm.
And the good time to do that in that weather because of Spain and what have you
Yeah. That the autumn time.
would be
Yeah.
autumn, correct,
Mm.
would be autumn.
No, that'd be good.
Hmm.
Wow. That would be, yes. And then you can come and
Yeah.
see my farm.
Yes, it would be very nice. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that would be good. Because we live very differently. I think that's the way.
We
Because you
live
live in an
differently because
apartment and I live
you're the country and I'm in the city.
exactly. That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say. You know,
Yeah.
you live in an apartment and I live in a mobile home on a farm. So I've
Exactly.
got all this land around me,
Yeah.
but not much comfort. And you've got maybe a
Well, I
little bit
don't
more
consider
comfort,
myself overly comfortable in
comfortable.
this either, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I can only afford what I can afford to at the
Yeah,
end of the day. But
absolutely. Absolutely. So hopefully by the time you come, I'll have started planting some trees or have some trees planted. That's the intention anyway, as you know,
yeah,
get some trees planted.
yeah, you're
But
doing well with that.
mm, mm, but yeah, I
So do
got
you have to do all that planting yourself, or does someone come and help you?
uh the grant covers the cost of buying the trees, the cost of fencing off the trees, and the cost of getting them planted.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
So I could probably pay Simon or
Oh, or
Simon is,
somebody, anybody, right.
yeah, a few people even.
So do
to
you
be,
have a period of time in which you have to, let's say the grant says you can put in 100 trees. Okay, I'm just throwing numbers
mm,
out there, but you know what,
yeah.
not real numbers. But let's say they said 100 trees. Do you have to put them in by X date?
I think um there's planting seasons. So like
Yeah,
right now is the best time to plant trees up to the end of March.
right,
Then you wouldn't plant anything until the autumn, maybe October, um, so that they'd bed in through the winter. So
right.
through the summer, it's just too dry. If you planted them in the summer, then you'd have to keep watering them, which wouldn't do them any good.
Right.
So it's so
Okay,
there's
so do
there's
you
not
have you already received the grant?
no, not yet. I've been in touch with somebody who's doing the paperwork for me now, and because that was the other problem I had with the Forestry Commission, they just direct you to the government website, and then there's all this, questions or whatever, and I'm going, I don't know which bit applies to me because there's so many different variances to what it's about. And that's really what stopped me for a long time. And then I've been on a number of courses last year with the Forestry Commission, which is how I met somebody from the Forest of Avon group. And she put me in touch with the Great Western Forestry, which covers my area. And so then I've been in touch with Caitlin, who is and I had to fill in a form, and she's now in the process of doing the paperwork for me. She will apply for the grants for me. I've given her my permission to sort it all out for me, please. Which actually, is so much easier for me because I didn't have a clue what I could apply for, what grant, how, where, what. I, it just becomes a boggle, and I just go. "Mm." So hopefully I'll hear from her this week coming. She said she'd be in touch with me next week, and then they'll come out for a site visit, and we can then make a map, a plan. I'm on a course, online course, a Zoom course on Wednesday. Um, on designing your orchard or designing your small forest woodland. So that's going to be interesting to see how what they recommend doing. Because I keep going, well, I could put some trees here, or I could put some trees there, or I could put some trees there. Do you know what I mean? And I haven't got any good rhyme or reason or rationale of where to put them and why.
So when they help you design it, is it
Yeah.
based on aesthetics? Is it based on, because if it's all open, at the end of the day, it's not a shade versus a sun thing.
There's maybe a little bit of that, but also, see, I've got a woodland, it's not my woodland, running all the way down my south boundary.
Okay.
And the land just to the north of that woodland onto my land gets quite wet. So what
Ah,
you might put in there is willow trees,
yeah,
for
okay.
instance.
Okay.
I've got ridge and furrow. Do you know what I mean by ridge and furrow?
I do not.
It's where the land goes sort of like this.
Okay.
It was um done in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, okay.
They would literally dig out the sides and make a ridge. So you had
Oh,
furrows
okay.
and ridges.
Okay.
And it is ancient. It's permanent lay, ridge and furrow.
Okay.
So again, one of the questions that came up last year with the Forestry Commission is whether they would give me a grant to plant on ridge and furrow, because ridge and furrow technically should be protected as a
Ah,
ancient
yes.
whatever.
Yes.
They came back to me and said it's not a problem. They checked my area, the larger area, so to speak, and that my ridge and furrow, um, I'm not quoting them, but mine isn't that important, if you know what I mean. Go
So
along the
that'll be in
ridges.
the plan, will
It
be
will be.
where exactly. Do they
Yeah.
do they recommend different trees or do you decide what trees?
I would like to do fruit trees and nut trees, so like an orchard.
Yeah.
They also say that the tree has to be at least a certain distance apart. So again, there's and how many trees per hectare sort of thing.
Why
Um,
fruit trees for you?
I I like to plant something that is useful.
You
So
know, it's
I
very
like,
interesting because the first thing that I would think of with that is the fact that you have, horses or whatever, is
mm,
that they'll eat the fruit.
we fence it off from them. They
Oh,
won't.
right. Okay, right. There
We'll
you
have
go.
to fence off the area,
Right.
and
Okay.
also
So
we
then
have
what
to.
happens with that fruit then? Would you have to pick it and then it,
We could harvest it and then we could sell it or
okay.
use it. But I
Okay.
just thought it'd be nice to actually have something that
Because
produced
that's
something.
a job in and of itself, right? So my uncle George had a farm in
Hmm.
Ontario
Yeah,
in the Niagara region. And the
right.
Niagara region is the fruit belt. It gets a little bit warmer in Niagara because you're getting
Um,
closer to a little bit a little bit further south toward
yes,
the US. So it is a little bit warmer there. And because of the Lake Ontario and all of that, it tends to be a little bit warmer. And so they call this area the fruit belt.
right.
And on his farm, he had peaches, he had pears, he had cherries, he
Yes.
had,
I don't know if we'd get peaches. We need to have indigenous fruit trees.
yeah, see, and we get a lot of peaches, pears, cherries, and all
Yeah.
that kind of thing in that area, okay,
Right.
in that
Yes.
fruit belt area. And I remember when we were kids, we would go to his farm and he'd have these huge bushels full, like bushels and bushels and bushels and bushels. And I mean, I'm talking this is like a full-time job to do that.
Yes.
And us
Yes.
as kids, we'd go into the trees for the cherries.
Mm.
And one of my other aunts who was like in her 70s was climbing the trees for the cherries. I remember
Take them.
that. Yeah. And I was very impressed because I said, oh my goodness, my Auntie Lena is climbing a tree and she's got to be at least 75.
Oh wow. Well, I've got a few
Okay.
years to go yet
So,
then.
so I was very, very impressed with that. And, but anyway,
Mm.
I just remember how much work that was. And, that
Yes.
was a real fruit farm, mind you. And the
Yeah.
other thing he had because of the weather,
Mm.
because it was warmer there, tons and tons of grapes. And he used to
Wow.
sell his grapes to
That's
some
really,
Canadian wine companies
yes.
to make wine.
See, I'd never thought of Canada as A, peaches and B, grapes. The other things, we get cherries, apples, pears here,
Yep.
but and grapes are grown in the UK now, but they're not, they're more sort of France or Spain.
You know what it
Um,
is? Anything can grow in anything,
okay.
to be
Yeah,
honest. We just
yes.
don't necessarily think of it that way. And you know what,
Mm.
where I learned that, I
Mm.
went to South America
Yeah.
and I went very far south because in Chile, because I was on my way to Antarctica.
Oh,
We
okay.
did pretty much a stop in almost, I would say, what they call the end of the world.
Yeah.
They named this town the end of the world, or the slogan for this
Yeah.
city is the end of the world because it is the last probably populated place before you hit Antarctica, because Antarctica, nobody lives in Antarctica.
Yes.
Anyway, interestingly enough, this area is called Patagonia, right? Must have been December or January.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I think it was December or January, which is not a warm time necessarily in first of all, it was in the north, it wouldn't be great. But because you're in the south, it's not too bad. But it's still you're going to the extremes of the planet,
The
right?
world. Yes.
So it
Yes.
certainly was cold in
Mm.
Antarctica, but it wasn't freezing like it would be in the Arctic in January, right?
Mm.
So, it's all relative. But what was very interesting being in Patagonia at that time of year is I was thinking to myself, how are these? There was flowers. There were flowers. I would see these
Mm.
flowers like, and then these forests and in the, places like that are national parks and stuff. And I'd
Mm.
be like, how I'd be going like, is this thing plastic? Like I want to touch it to see if it was real because it looked kind of
Oh,
rubbery and
yeah,
whatever. And I'd be like, how is this thing surviving in this cold? I'm freezing my butt off here. And now granted, I would be freezing much more in my own country because at that time of
yeah,
year I'd be really
yeah.
cold. But I'm telling you, I mean, I had a, jacket, hat, gloves
Mm,
nonetheless, okay,
mm.
dressing
Oh,
warmly.
geez.
And yet these plants
Excuse
were
me.
just these flowers, no less, not just plants. They were flowers that I could not
Mm,
believe were survive. Like, how could they survive? And I thought, man, nature adapts.